Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the brand new Adidas F50 adizero Crazy Light. Now as you can see, it comes in a very large drawer style box with that Crazy Light pattern throughout. Open up the drawer and you can see on the inside it's divided into two separate compartments where you'll find the shoes. And as far as extras are concerned, unlike the standard synthetic adizeros, these do not come with extra insoles, but as an extra instead, you get a string bag, which is pretty nice. The string bag is solar slime in color. Again, has that same arrow pattern, and for the most part is really high quality and a nice little extra. So we'll get that out of the way, get the shoes out of the box, and if you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the long-awaited F50 adizero Crazy Light. These things have been on pre-order for forever. They were supposed to ship out in, I believe, late March. They got pushed back to early April, then mid-April. Now we're in late April and they're finally in stock and actually did not sell out. So if you didn't purchase a pair yet, you still have the opportunity to, and I will leave a link in the description to where you can buy these things. Please keep in mind though that these are a limited run. They won't last long, and they were only produced in size 8, 9, and 10 US. No half sizes, nothing smaller, nothing bigger. Only 8, 9, and 10. So if you're not one of those sizes, I guess it's a little bit unfortunate if you did really want to get a pair of these. But like I said, limited run, only 3 sizes made. Get them while you can. Link in the description. Now, as far as the visuals are concerned, we're going to go over that in just a second. But before we do anything, I want to talk about the weight of this shoe. And in order to do that, I'm going to get the scale out and we'll see how light these things actually are. Now, we obviously know that the Crazy Light F50 is very, very lightweight, but what I want to know is how much lighter it is than the standard synthetic F50 adizero, which in my eyes is already light enough as it is. So, for the sake of comparison, we're going to weigh both the standard and the Crazy Light editions. Keep in mind that these are both in brand new condition and both a size 9 US. This is the standard pair, we'll weigh it in first. Also keep in mind that it has the lightweight insole inside as of right now, so we'll throw that on the scale. And you can see that they weigh in at a very lightweight 5.5 ounces. 5.5 ounces makes for a pretty much weightless feel in hand as well as on feet. So we'll take this off the scale and we'll throw on the Crazy Light model, and you can see that they weigh in at an astonishingly lightweight 4.65 ounces. So Adidas has managed to shave about 0.8 ounces off of the standard synthetic adizero, which is, in my opinion, pretty impressive. It's not a significant amount of weight in terms of what you're going to be able to feel on your feet. You'll notice it a little bit in hand, but it's more of a placebo effect kind of thing. But again, to shave 0.8 ounces, almost a full ounce off of a shoe that is already extremely light, is, like I said, a pretty impressive feat. And I'm actually very curious to see what Adidas can do in the future as far as making shoes lighter and lighter. Obviously, we've seen the 99 gram adizero. I've shared my thoughts on that before. I'll leave an annotation on screen if you haven't checked out that video. It is pretty interesting. But like I said, if you're looking for something that is as light as possible, there is nothing lighter on the market right now, and probably won't be for a little while, than the Crazy Light F50 adizero. As far as the looks of the shoe are concerned, that is going to differ from one person to another. Personally, I don't think that these look that bad. I think it's an interesting design. It's a very fast looking shoe, especially in person. But this pattern is definitely a little crazy, a little over the top, and certainly not for everybody. And I'd be curious to hear your opinions on the visuals of this shoe down below in the comments, because I'm sure there will be some mixed opinions. In terms of how they look in person, I think they look pretty good. The base of the shoe is that solar slime lime green color. You're going to find that also in the laces, and it actually has a nice kind of unique, almost like carbon fiber type of aesthetic to it up close. It isn't, of course, carbon fiber, but it's just a nice little finish. It's a subtle detail that I'm sure will show up on camera, hopefully, and hopefully you guys will be able to see it. But even in person, it's kind of tough to see. You're also going to find a variation of matte and shiny finishes on the upper, which is, again, something that isn't overly apparent in the online pictures, but hopefully will be in today's video. As far as this arrow pattern is concerned, you're going to find that some of the arrows are black and some of them are more of a gray color. And again, it just makes for a very fast looking shoe. Even just sitting here, it almost looks like they're going to run away. And that's kind of a cool design concept in my opinion. They're visually very striking, and I think that's what Adidas was going for. And like I said, the design is successful from that particular standpoint. As far as the Adidas stripes are concerned, you can see they have them on the lateral and the medial side in that Solar Zest orange color. You're also going to find an Adidas logo here on the tongue, which is upside down, and I'm sure a lot of people will be confused by that. I would assume that the reasoning is that when you're wearing the shoes, you can actually look down on your feet like you would right here and read the Adidas logo right side up. So that's really the only reasoning I could think of. And nonetheless, I think it's kind of a cool little option. A lot of people will ask about it, of course. And then moving to the back of the shoe, it's mostly black. And you can see it's actually branded as the Adizero Crazy Light, which is kind of cool. It lets people know that this is not just a standard Adizero, if they couldn't tell already by the insane colorway. As far as the inside liner is concerned, you can see it's all black, and it's actually a microfiber type of material that lines the entire inside of the shoe. The insole is fully removable. Again, you only get one, and it's pretty much just a standard Adizero lightweight insole. Nothing too crazy here. Mesh liner on top, black in color. It says Adizero Light Makes Fast in orange right here at the heel. And again, it's just a standard lightweight Adizero insole, nothing too out of the ordinary versus the standard editions. In terms of the sprint frame, this is also something that's fairly unique and has a pretty big role in terms of making this shoe that much lighter than the standard F50 adizero. But again, a detail that isn't super noticeable in the online pictures and hopefully will be very apparent in today's video is this kind of laser etching type of pattern they have in the sole plate. It's still a sprint frame, it's still a very similar shape. We'll talk about that again later in the video, but it has this kind of very subtle etched in pattern all throughout, and it's in this orange color that has this kind of not necessarily translucent, but like a color changing type of effect where you'll see some yellows, you'll see some like whites and different types of colors reflecting off of all these patterns, and subtle little detail kind of etched into the upper, not in the upper, sorry, into the sole plate. It's just very, very unique and very cool to look at in person, to be completely honest. You can see in the forefoot area, it kind of has this shattered glass type of effect that just looks really, really cool in the light. Not sure how that's going to hold up once you start wearing these things, though. I guess only time will tell, because I will be wearing them. But that's pretty much it as far as the color is concerned. And next I want to take a look at what elements have been changed versus a standard synthetic Adizero to make them that much lighter. As far as the upper is concerned, on the standard F50 adizeros, you're going to find that the front of the shoe is made from hybrid touch synthetic, whereas the back of the shoe is made from speed foil synthetic. On the Crazy Light, you're going to find neither of these two synthetics. Instead, it's made from a microfiber type of material, and that's really all they've clarified. They don't have a specific name for the synthetic itself, but for the most part, it feels very similar to hybrid touch. I wouldn't say it's quite as soft or flexible, but with that being said, it still feels very high quality in my opinion. And in terms of the thickness of the synthetic, I would say it's very, very close. Maybe just a touch thinner in comparison to the standard Adizero, but again, the difference is not too significant. The tongue is very, very thin, though, I will say that. And for the most part, this synthetic, like I said, feels nice and soft from right out of the box, and I'm actually very excited to wear them because of the quality of the synthetic. One very subtle difference between the Crazy Light and standard Adizero that a lot of people won't notice until you have the shoes side by side in person is that the laces on the Crazy Light edition are much thinner than what you're going to find on the standard pair. Again, this is a very small difference. It probably doesn't even save that much weight on the shoe, but I want people to realize that it isn't one specific element of the Crazy Light Adizero that makes it that much lighter, but instead is several elements combined that save that little bit of extra weight. Another change is the liner on the Crazy Light Adizero. You can see that on the standard pairs. It's pretty much just a synthetic leather liner. There's minimal padding in there, as you would expect, but it's still decently comfortable, and it only spans till right about the ankle collar area. It's not there on the side covering up the speed foil, whereas on the Crazy Light edition, you can see it's actually a soft, synthetic, kind of microfiber suede-like material, which I personally prefer over the standard ones. It's very comfortable. I would say there's definitely a similar amount of padding back there, so comfort should not be an issue. And what's cool is that microfiber suede liner actually lines the entire inside of the shoe, as you can see, not just the heel. So it makes for a very uniform, comfortable feel across the entire inside of the boot. And for the most part, it's not something I was expecting from a shoe that weighs under 5 ounces. Other than the etched out pattern on the sprint frame of the Crazy Light Adizero, which I'm sure saves at least a little bit of weight, you will find that there are some very, very subtle differences between the heel counter on the sprint frame on the Crazy Light versus the standard variation. You can see that side by side, the Crazy Light edition is actually cut a little bit lower, and then they added this extension piece around the side. Not sure exactly why that is, but they come up level right here, but as you can see, the actual sprint frame is cut ever so slightly lower on the Crazy Light edition. Again, I'm assuming just to save a little bit of extra weight. As far as stud patterns are concerned, obviously some changes were made to save as much weight as possible. On the standard F50 adizero, you can see that the studs are triangular in shape, but they're not perfect triangles. They have a slight kind of curvature to them at certain corners. It has this little extra pattern here in the middle, obviously a center support stud, one little kind of extra piece of plastic right here at the tip of the toe, and then of course your 4 triangular heel studs, as well as a My Coach slot. So on the Crazy Light edition, you're going to notice that the center stud is gone. That little kind of bump at the tip of the toe is gone. You still have your My Coach slot. You still have your 4 studs under the heel, but the studs themselves are also shaped a little bit differently, not only because they're perfect triangles, but also because they're actually smaller. And again, they really did as much as they possibly could to shave some weight. So side by side, you can see that the studs on the standard adizero are definitely larger than what you're going to find on the Crazy Light edition. I'm not sure how or if even this is going to affect the performance in terms of traction in any way at all. Of course, I have to test them out to really determine that. But again, it's definitely an interesting thing. And again, I don't think a lot of people realize that the studs are actually smaller on the Crazy Light versus the standard F50. Another thing that I found a little bit interesting about the Crazy Light is that it featured the My Coach slot. I figured that that would be a little bit of additional weight on the shoe that wasn't necessary, but then when I thought about it a little more, every single sprint frame that was not the original featured this My Coach slot. So they were designed with this My Coach slot as part of the structural integrity through the midfoot. So I think that in order to remove the My Coach slot and perhaps shave a little bit of additional weight, they would have had to re-engineer a completely different sole plate and add those stiffener bars through the middle. If you guys remember the original adizero, it had 1 extra bar through the middle, which these ones do not, because of that My Coach slot. So again, kind of an interesting observation, but for the most part, there are some pretty significant differences in terms of the stud pattern, and again, I don't know how that's going to impact the overall performance. The last thing that Adidas has done to shave weight on the Crazy Light F50 is that they've actually shortened the length of the studs. Now it's definitely most noticeable with the heel studs, as you guys can see. Here's the Crazy Light adizero, here's the standard pair. The shape hasn't changed on the heel studs, but you can see that there's pretty much half the amount of plastic that makes up the stud itself. So in terms of how you'll feel when wearing these shoes, you can see that these ones actually sit a little bit lower if I kind of zoom out the camera. So again, I'm not sure how it's going to change the feel. I'm not sure how it's going to change the overall stability of the shoe. But again, keep in mind that the studs are not only smaller on the Crazy Light, but they're also shorter. Alright, here's a look at the Crazy Light F50 adizeros on feet. From a visual standpoint, especially against a green grass background, they are pretty loud. They definitely will stand out if that's what you're going for. And because I know you guys will ask, how light do they feel pretty much weightless. And if you're looking for that weightless sensation, the Crazy Light adizero will provide that better than any other shoe currently on the market. In terms of fit and overall comfort, these are very comfortable. They don't feel like they've taken an ounce of shoe out of a standard F50 adizero. I would say that it actually feels very similar. This microfiber synthetic upper is soft and flexible, feels very natural from right out of the box. It definitely is thin, but doesn't feel like you're running around with nothing on your feet. That's for sure. There definitely is a sensation of having that little bit of a barrier between your foot and the ball, which is definitely a good thing. And in terms of overall kind of shape and fit, it's a similar shape to the standard F50 adizero, but with a slightly higher volume fit. Not so much in the width, but more so in the height of the shoe. There's a little bit of extra room in the toe box, a little bit of extra room in the midfoot, and just a little bit of extra room pretty much all the way throughout, just because the sides of the shoe are ever so slightly taller, and you'll notice that in the shape just in the video. So for the most part, it's still a tight-fitting shoe. It just isn't quite as tight from right out of the box as the standard F50s are. So for the most part, if you have wide feet, this is still not a shoe that I would recommend for you, just because I don't think it's going to be very comfortable. It's a very tight-fitting shoe through the midfoot, and again, it's not best suited for wide-footed players. But if you have narrow to average width feet, you shouldn't have any issues fitting into the Crazy Lights whatsoever. In terms of sizing, I went for a 9 US. They fit me absolutely perfect. They run true to size, but again, keep in mind with the Crazy Lights, they only come in size 8, 9, and 10 US. So if you aren't one of those sizes, unfortunately the Crazy Lights are not available to you. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the Adidas F50 Crazy Light. I have to say I'm impressed. They managed to shave weight off of a shoe that is already incredibly light while still maintaining pretty much most of the performance characteristics. Of course, there are some slight differences in the stud pattern that I'm sure will have some type of impact, however big or small, on the overall performance, but for the most part, like I said, they've maintained all the elements and made it in a more lightweight package, which is really all you can ask for from an ultra premium, ultra lightweight variation. So for the most part, this is definitely a success in my books from Adidas. And again, if you're interested in purchasing a pair of these for yourself, they're available in limited quantities. Keep that in mind. They won't last long. They're not going to be going on sale or anything like that. Through the link down below in the description, along with the exclusive SR4U coupon code, allowing you to pick these up below the retail price. So be sure to check that out. As far as follow-up reviews and videos are concerned, I probably want to do some comparisons at some point in time. Maybe a comparison between the Crazy Light and the F50 adizero Prime, which was essentially the SL version of the adizero several years ago. Let me know down below in the comments if you'd be interested in that. And maybe even a playtest. I know I'm due to do a playtest on the F50 adizero. Perhaps you guys would be more interested in a Crazy Light playtest as opposed to the standard variation. Let me know down below in the comments. If you have any questions as well, again, leave a comment down below. I will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. As far as the full written review is concerned, before I forget to mention that, it will be coming in the next couple of weeks. I will do a brand new full written review for the Crazy Light variation. I will be wearing them, of course. So again, look out for that in the next month or so. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.